We have always been subconsciously following this model as
Using it.
investors, except that we didn't have this acronym with us, right? So
Wow.
now we very clearly follow this model, and I would strongly suggest every founder to follow this model, because that's exactly what leads to, well, you can't guarantee success, but at least it improves the chances of success and
Yeah.
improves the chances of getting funding.
I truly believe that one startup, two startups, whatever it is, but if you're a persistent entrepreneur, okay, you will be on the right track. I'm a consultant. I have not gone for funding because my business does not qualify, it does not need. But I persisted in the lockdown.
One thing which most people who are experienced in this business agree with, most of them
Hmm.
agree with this, is the money that you take is obviously important, but who you take the money from is equally important, right?
Hi, Mr. Dhruv. Good evening. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm doing good. Am I audible to you?
Yeah.
All right. First of all, thanks a lot for making time, and I hope your dentist appointments have been good.
Dentist appointments are never good, but anyway, there's no choice.
Yeah, I was in when I picked up your book, I was in Jaipur,
Acha.
because that's where I originally come from. I'm in
Okay.
Mumbai now, for work. And I had dentist appointments with our local dentist. I did not go. I kept telling myself I have work, which I did. But I agree with you.
Nice.
There we go.
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, this is a candid conversation that we are having. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the audience? Who are you aiming at?
So the audience is primarily LinkedIn audience, and then young entrepreneurs outside LinkedIn who are between 18 to 25,
Okay.
because those are the real folks that we have on Instagram.
Okay.
We have about 14,000 followers over there, all organic. LinkedIn, I have 6,000 followers, all organic again. And YouTube is what we are building. So our company is into funding, and then we are into sales corporate trainings, and
Mhm.
we work with Hindustan Petroleum. I'm in fact just finishing a book with Hindustan Petroleum on HR. They
Uh-huh.
ended up writing a book on HR, and I'm the main editor. Bank of Baroda, Rahejas, Adani's, Future Group. These are some of our clients. So we have done a lot of interviews, Mr. Dhruv, recently with sales authors from all over. And I came across your book, which I believe is the only book which is there on startups, for Indian startups, on funding.
Yeah.
And that was actually going to be my first question to you. Uh, because I read a lot, of course, given the work that I do.
Yeah.
Do you think this is actually the only real book in India that we have available for Indian entrepreneurs who understands the market over here to begin with?
Um, okay, so Ashish, it is not the only book. There are others, but I'll tell you what is unique about it.
Hmm.
Um, First of all, this is probably, not probably, this is the only book which is available on funding in the Indian context.
Hmm.
The other books talk about everything, including how to build your startup, how to scale it, and so on. This one is largely focused around funding. That is number one. Number two,
Hmm.
if you look at all the other books, and I think there must be about four or five others,
Hmm.
they predominantly talk about very large, successful startups. Okay, so they will have case studies around Byju's, they'll have case studies around, Grofers or Big Basket or Ola Cabs and so on. The problem is when you're looking at a youngster or, a founder who's
Hmm.
just about starting or into his first year in the startup,
Hmm.
he can't identify with those guys. It's like telling people,
Hmm.
look, this is what Mukesh Ambani has done. Now learn from him. Boss, I want to learn from somebody who's young, just starting off, right? And, facing the same kind of issues, same kind of problems that I am, uh, raising the same kinds of questions that I am. That will only happen when you're talking about young startups. So we
Hmm.
have predominantly focused on young startups. That is number two. And I think the most important thing that I have not seen even in books abroad, right?
Hmm.
Most important thing is, you know, I'll give you an analogy. In fact, that analogy is there in the book. If you want to learn about how to act, you
Hmm.
want to get into movies, right?
Hmm.
It's good to go to Bombay and learn from Shah Rukh Khan, but it is probably even more important to learn from the guy who came
Who
from the
failed?
fields of Punjab, right?
Hmm.
Came to Bombay, tried his luck, it didn't work out, he went back. That's where the maximum learning happens, right? And
Yes.
which basically means you've got to learn from failures. So rather than failing yourself and learning from that, can you learn from other people's failures? And
Hmm.
unfortunately, Ashish, nobody talks about failures.
Hmm.
Failures people talk about only, when they've had three or four pegs of the best black label, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, nobody talks about failures, and there's no book. Every book, every article, every interview on TV talks about success stories. So what we've
Yes.
done very clearly is, based on our experience, which is many years of mentoring and investing in startups, what we said was, look, we have to talk about both failures and successes. So I think
Hmm.
this is definitely the only book, probably across the world, which focuses on both successes and failures.
And
And
failures.
obviously, you can learn from both.
Wow. My goal is, and I'm speaking from my heart, is to
Hmm.
reach this book out to as many people as we can. Because I'll take you back to, just as a journey. And I think a lot of viewers who will watch this will relate to me. I'm in my mid 30s now. But I was 22 when I came back to India because I wanted to get into business, and I gave up my green
Hmm.
card, the
Hmm.
documents with a
Oh.
one-way ticket, and I wanted to start a cafe. And this is before cloud kitchens. We used to deliver coffees
Uh-huh.
in Lower Parel in Mumbai. And
Uh-huh.
the irony of news is, guys, that they will show you all the negative news when it comes to the normal news channel. Like every breaking
Hmm.
news is almost negative. But when it
Hmm.
comes to the startup world, they only show you the positive sides.
Yes.
So you see
Yes.
X getting million, then B getting
Yes.
trillion,
Yes.
and then the unicorns now being created.
Yes.
And that's what
Absolutely.
happened with me. And I was like, mil jayegi funding.
Uh,
My thought process was ki bas idea soch liya, or
uh,
over excited, hormones are high. You're 22, you're like, I can achieve and I can conquer the world.
yes.
And you have so much energy that you don't know how to focus that energy around.
Yes.
And I terribly failed. I had to figure it out. I understood what profits were, what losses were. I had taken some money from my father, and the pain of giving him back, the
Mm,
pinch, that, dad, can I get 50,000 this month? Can I
mm,
get 50,000 again? And then eventually we figured it out, and we were able to like raise minute funds.
mm,
But the whole journey, right, it was terrible. And it took me time to mature, and I think it is because we don't know the truth as entrepreneurs, that how
mm,
difficult it is and how serious and mature you have to be more than your age to be able to
mm.
raise funds. And this book exactly does that. And you have to read it if you are a serious entrepreneur who wants to build a serious company, because I've read only, I think, 20% of it so far. But you mention we are talking about khoon pasine ki companies, right? And you mentioned that in the
Yes,
beginning of the book.
that was a
Ki,
comment by Sanjeev Bikhchandani, Naukri.
from Naukri.com.
Yes,
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 yes, in the introduction part of it. So
yes.
let's get started with this. Uh, if there is a startup right now, excited entrepreneur or a couple guys who've told their parents, we're going to quit our jobs, or we are not going to do a job, we will start a company, we need 20,000 rupees to open a bank account. Okay. What would you suggest them if they've already thought in their mind that we will raise funds?
Okay, so first of all, I must clarify a couple of things. Um, Firstly, if you look at the book, um, it is not only about raising funds, it is also about creating successful startups, right? And I want to just clarify one thing for the benefit of your viewers. Raising funding is not an end in itself. You look at news items around you, look at the TV, they keep talking about unicorns, right? They keep talking about the fact that India has 40 unicorns and many more soonicorns, which means they'll become unicorns very soon. Funding is not the end objective of anybody who creates a startup. The end objective is to be able to create a successful startup. If you need funding in the process, please. do take funding. If you don't need it, don't take it. Don't take it
Hmm.
simply because it's fashionable to talk about it at parties or at get-togethers or whatever. So I would say, if you want to create a startup, um, first of all, you have to look at what kind of startup it is. Right?
Hmm.
If you look at, for instance, a B2C startup, correct? A B2C startup normally requires a very large amount of money to be spent on marketing and branding, because you got to reach
Hmm.
out to that many people. Very likely at some stage you will need money. Very likely at some stage you will need money from outside, not only from your sources. Or if you have to build a complex product, right? For example, suppose you have
Hmm.
to build a blockchain based solution for some industry, right? It'll probably take you several people working maybe 6 months, 1 year, right? And you
Hmm.
can't support that, you can't sustain that without money, and therefore you will need funding. So there will be
Hmm.
situations where you do need funding, in which case, yes, by all means, go ahead and take it. However, if you don't need it, for example, a B2B business, right? So let's take a very simple
Hmm.
example. Suppose you're trying to start a consulting business. Now,
Hmm.
consulting business actually does not require huge branding. Essentially requires field selling, right? Which means the founder has to go out and meet a few people or maybe make a few phone calls. And you need a couple of people who are generating revenues for you as consultants. You don't need
Yes.
funding. So I'm saying the most important thing is realizing the fact that funding is not an end in itself. It's a
Hmm.
means towards an end. If you need
Hmm.
it, definitely take it. If you don't need it, please do not take it, because when you get funding, A, you're diluting your own equity in the company, and
Hmm.
B,
Hmm.
then you're getting investors, and the investors are going to potentially start pressurizing you. So don't take funding just because it's fashionable. Take it when you need it.
Yes, and that was actually you ended the answer with my next question, which was in my mind. Let's walk people through an example of what happens when you get funded in on the other side of things, on the wrong side of things. So they realize that it's not just a journey where you sit in an office chair and you order people. Can you give an example from your experience? I've not reached that far in the book yet. I am still on my cute office. I've
Okay.
just kind of finished that chapter
Right.
because I've recently picked up and I'm editing papers.
Okay.
But if I'm sure it's somewhere in the book. So what happens when somebody gets funding on the wrong side of things, so people understand it's not for everybody?
Uh, just to clarify, when you say on the wrong side, what do you mean?
So let's say that an entrepreneur or a couple team members have raised funds now, and they got the funding, but now they are facing challenges. They are not meeting investor estimates. The team is not coming together as it was supposed to, and as you said, the investor is pressurizing because they've put the funds in, and a young entrepreneur who's 25 years old is in that situation. It's not going the way he or she visualized it to be. Just a story or an example around that, if you had, for these guys to practically feel what it feels like when we're not responsible with the money that we get.
Okay. So, first of all, before getting into an example, let me share a couple of other important issues. Uh, One thing which most people who are experienced in this business agree with, most of them
Hmm.
agree with this, is the money that you take is obviously important, but who you take the money from is equally important, right? And I'll explain why. There have been people who've come to me who said, look, sir, I'm getting 30 lakhs from XYZ, and he happens to be in fact, this is a specific example. This is
Hmm.
a person who owns I mean, he runs a wholesale shop in Chavdi Bazaar, and he's giving
Hmm.
me 30 lakhs. I said, do you know the guy well? No, I don't, but he's a neighbor. So I said, look, the problem you will have is, if you get this guy to invest in your company, will he be sitting on your head every month, every quarter, profit do, profit do, profit do, kya ho raha, kya ho raha, kya ho raha? That is the problem, which means you are not being given the freedom to run your company, to grow your company, but you're being pressurized all the time. Correct?
Hmm.
Um, if you look at typical angel investors, right? uh, most angel investors think long term, right?
Yes.
Which a typical, the businessman of the kind I have. So, by the way, I have nothing against Chavri Bazaar.
Yeah.
It's a great place. I just took an example, right?
Yeah.
Since you asked me an example. So, um, most angel investors, and for that matter, VCs, the venture
Yes.
capitalists, they think long term. They realize two, three things. Number one, they realize that whatever you're doing, it will take at least about 3 to 4 to maybe 5 years to be able to get a decent exit from the company, which means
Hmm.
the shares that I bought, I should be able to sell at a profit, right? It will take
Hmm.
at least 3, 4, 5 years, and they are willing to wait, right?
Hmm.
It is fortunate because they are not the kind of guys who will put pressure on you to get results fast. However, they will definitely look at the direction you're taking. See, they
Hmm.
realize that startups, there are just far too many uncertainties in this field of startups, right? When you create
Hmm.
something, you may have to change your business model. You may have to pivot it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times before you finally figure out what we call the product market fit, which means you
Yes.
finally figure out, okay, this is what the market is willing to pay for, and that is what I need to do. And I've seen startups going through multiple cycles of this kind, right?
Yes.
Um, Example is MyCute Office, which you mentioned. So these guys started with they identified uh, partially vacant spaces within existing offices in Bombay, and they said,
Hmm.
look, you have one room spare in your entire office. We will rent that out to other people who want only a partial office. They started from there, but gradually they have been pivoting, and today they have moved completely into full office spaces. So they don't look at partial office spaces anymore. It's full office spaces, and they are essentially into co-working spaces, right? Except that compared
Hmm.
to guys like WeWork and Co, these guys are into optimized and therefore low cost co-working spaces. But this has taken
Hmm.
them 4 5 years
Yes.
to figure out. Investors have been patient with them, no problem, because they were going in the right
Wow.
direction. So as long as you're moving in the right
Hmm.
direction, you're okay. But
Hmm.
like I said, typical angels, typical VCs are quite happy with that, and they realize that things will keep changing. I hope I've
So
answered
how
that
do you
question. Yeah.
identify? Yes, yes, you have. You have. So is it important for a startup to also research? Of course, they research, but my question is, very consciously about what kind of other investments that VC or angel investor has done, and maybe speak to those entrepreneurs who've got funded, if it's possible, because it's possible that a VC has 10 fund investments, and some of them have been successful, but let's say the feedback taken from the other entrepreneurs on a personal note identifies for a startup that maybe this is not the right investor for me given the working style.
So in answer to that question, like I said, across the board,
Hmm.
both angels and VCs, they want results, but they are
Hmm.
not in a hurry to get quick results.
Hmm.
See, if you look at, for example, an angel, normally he's invested his own money, right?
Yes.
And the reason why he's invested is he has seen stock markets. He knows that he can get on an average something like 15, 16, 17% per annum, right? He knows
Hmm.
things like debt funds and fixed deposits. He knows he can get about 6, 7% there. And he wants more, but he realizes that more will take time and it is risky. So he accepts that, not a problem, right?
Hmm.
So there it is not really an issue. If you look at the VC, most VCs, they would have, see, what is a VC? Ultimately, is a VC is a guy who has floated a fund, and
Yes.
other investors have invested in that fund, and then the VC picks up this money and invests it in appropriate startups. Now, VC funds are normally between 5 and 7 years in duration, right? Which means the VC has time. It's not a 1 year fund. It's not a 1 year fund where the guy says I have to get an exit within 1 year,
Hmm.
which is why he's willing to spend time. So, like I said, um, if you go to VCs, if you go to angels, normally you will not have a problem. But if you go to your neighbor who is a businessman and wants to get quick profits, you are likely to be in trouble.
Yes. Wow.
unless he
Okay.
understands this.
Understand. Yes. Very, very. Thank you so much for that. Okay. So let's flip the coin. Uh, what does a VC angel investor look for in founders?
Okay, good, good.
Because we got a usually generic answer, but in today's world.
Yeah. So I'll give you this answer in two parts, right?
Hmm.
And part one, I'll just pick up directly from the book, if you're okay. Right? So, by the way, this is the same book.
Yes, of course,
As you
please.
can see, I also have a copy.
Yes, we both have it.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
guys, you have to get it. It's like the only book. It took me 60 seconds to pick up your book
oh, wow, wow,
because it was the only
wonderful.
book, and I just want to share from a perspective of somebody who's into it, and if you're a startup, it stands out, and I was like, okay, just take it. you
Yeah,
know
yes, yes. And whoever buys it will get from me a chocolate from the royalty I get.
Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. So you owe me a chocolate.
No, absolutely. I'll send you a carton, a full carton.
Thank you. Yes, and then I can courier it to other folks who are buying because of the interview, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay,
Yes.
so actually, what you've asked me is the core of the book. What we've done is, me and my co-founder Sushanto Mitra,
Yes.
we are from Lead Angels, right? So I have spent
Hmm.
about 7 years as an angel investor, and I've been mentoring several other startups as well. And Sushanto was the first founder and CEO of the incubator at IIT Bombay, which is called
Hmm.
SAI. Right? So we have spent a lot of time with young startups and sometimes with older people as well. And we realized that there are people who are successful, there are certain things they do and they are common. And people who are not successful,
Hmm.
again, there are certain things they do which are common. Right? So what we said was, can we try and create a framework which helps entrepreneurs evaluate their startups to see whether they are likely to be successful or not? Correct. And that's what we've done based on
Hmm.
all the startups that we have seen. And interestingly, it is the same framework that investors look for. Because see, ultimately, both the investor and the founder, they have the same end in mind, isn't it? They both want successful companies
Yes.
which keep out competition, which grow, which scale up rapidly, and at some stage make a profit, right? So both have exactly the same end in mind,
Hmm.
which is why it's the same framework which applies to both. So I'll just explain the framework
Hmm.
very, very briefly. In fact, I've got it written here, and I think you can see this.
Yes, persistent.
It's called persistent, right? So each letter of this framework stands for something. So P stands for problem. You've got to be solving a problem for the customer. Otherwise, there is no reason for him to come to you. Correct. E stands
Yes.
for earnings model, which means not only is he willing to come to you, he has to be willing to pay you for whatever you're offering to him. Correct. I'll skip a couple of letters. S stands for size of the market, because if it's a small market, you will not grow, right? You'll
Yes.
stagnate. Again, it's important. The next S stands for scalability, correct?
Hmm.
Not only should the market size be large, but you should have a startup which can grow rapidly, scale up rapidly within that market. So
Hmm.
that's scalability, right? Then you have R, which is risks. And
Hmm.
risks, obviously, every business faces risks. And the biggest risk that every business potentially faces is the risk of competition, right?
Hmm.
Competition getting in, especially large competition, and
Yes.
potentially killing you, eating into your market share, and so on. So you need to have what we call an entry barrier, which means
Hmm.
something in your business which prevents or which is a barrier to your competitor entering the business, right? And that's the next
Hmm.
E, entry barrier. Correct.
Hmm.
Then I have not covered I. I is innovation, which basically
Innovation.
means uh, if you have an innovative, tough to copy solution, for example, if you have a patent or two, then
Hmm.
that's a great entry barrier, right? Many
Hmm.
startups do not, but if you do, that's a great entry barrier. Correct.
Hmm.
Then we talk about T, which is team, very, very important, starting with the founders. We have a very firm belief as investors that, if you have a average business model, but a
Hmm.
great team of founders, that founder or those founders will figure out a way to make it work. But if you
Yes.
have a great business model, average team, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Then the last two letters, N stands for niche, which means if you're in a crowded market, lots and lots of competition, then try and identify a niche or a subset which is large enough but which is not crowded within that market.
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
And the final T in persistent is what we call traction. It
Action.
basically means, you know, ultimately you may have the best business model, you may be a great founder, very scalable, etc., etc. What is the business you're actually getting? What is the traction you're getting? Are you getting
Hmm.
customers? Are you getting repeat customers? Are you getting sticky customers? Are they growing month on month? Are they giving you money? Correct. So traction,
Hmm.
ultimate proof. So that's the persistent model. And what we have found is we've just created this model, by the way, about a year back when we wrote this book. But what we realized is we have always been subconsciously following this model as
Using it.
investors, except that we didn't have this acronym with us, right? So
Wow.
now we very clearly follow this model. And I would strongly suggest every founder to follow this model because that's exactly what leads to, well, you can't guarantee success, but at least it improves the chances of success and
Yeah.
improves the chances of getting funding. And I just want to add one more thing.
Hmm.
Persistent is not only a framework, it's also an English word, right? And that's very, very important for any founder. You've got to keep on and on and on at it. You know, you'll have lots of ups and downs, probably
No,
more
and
downs than ups, right? I mean, last year has been a down for the whole of humanity, isn't it? Right? But you got to keep on at it and survive. And the fighters, the guys who kept on at it,
yes.
are the ones who've survived during this COVID period. So you have to be persistent.
Yes, and I'll just add a couple live examples while we are doing this interview in Jan. If you watch cricket, do you watch cricket by any chance?
Yes. Had we done this in the morning,
Yes, you do, right?
I would have been looking in this
Uh,
direction because my TV is there.
so there you go. So right now when we speak, right, the best example that I can think of, if you watch cricket, is the Indian cricket team right now in
Yes.
Australia persisting, and it's a
Yes.
test, right? So they say that's why it's called a test. You look at eight key players not being available,
Correct.
and
Correct.
what they are doing over there is a mindset, it's teamwork, it's attitude, it's persistence,
Correct.
it's not giving up. Everything that we are discussing right now, right? And you learn from that. Second is the impact. I just want to share because I truly believe that this is going to have a lot of interviews done, this book, and you will reach out to a lot of key members. As soon as I read the persistent model, I'm being honest with you, I started using it the next day for my client,
Wow. Wow.
and we have contacted 39 investors
Ooh.
using your model, and we have done 4 meetings in the last 15 days, and I'm speaking about while investors are on a break. So
Wow. So now
right.
so Ashish, you need to send me a carton of chocolates.
Yes. There we go. There we go. Yes, yes, I do. So I called it the accumulated report. And I
Ah,
said, listen, if you don't have time to go through the pitch deck, because sometimes, they don't have time. I
yeah.
said, here you go. And I said, we boxed it in a table, and it
Wonderful.
works. And,
Wonderful.
and it made us think. And you mentioned an important point in the book that, listen, you don't need to have all things figured out.
Yeah.
The more you figure it out, it's important. But in case you don't, be honest about that.
Yeah.
So I just want to have two more questions, and then I want to encourage people at the end of the interview to pick up the book. If we can speak about honesty, uh, I think in Indian education system, the system that we are in, and it's changing, but still for the young guys, importance of honesty. And then if we can end the interview with any two key areas from persistent that you can elaborate a little bit on, and then we can summarize the
Okay. Great.
interview.
Great. So let me first talk about this whole business of honesty. You know, you must remember a couple of things. Um, if you look at an investor, and I'm giving you the investor's viewpoint. If you look at an
Hmm.
investor, if I were to invest in, let's say, fixed deposits in a bank, right?
Hmm.
I would do that because I trust the bank. right? So I'll invest in maybe State Bank or HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank or whatever. Um, I will not invest in, a tiny organization. I mean, who's giving me, let's say, 15% interest, because I don't know what the hell
Hmm.
that guy will do with my money. So I will not invest there. I will invest in the solid companies. Similarly, in the stock market, when I invest, I'm investing in companies which are known and proven, right? The problem is when I invest in startups, I have no clue what's going to happen.
Hmm.
I have no clue because the startup can ultimately go in any direction. We don't know because the business model can pivot several times. Bigger issue is, unlike the fixed deposit and unlike the stock market, once I put in my money, it is not liquid. In the case of the stock market, if I find that things are not going right, I can take out my money. Maybe I lose 10%, 20%, but I've got much of my money. Even the fixed deposit I can break. But here, I don't have an exit till such time that some other investor comes and says, okay, this is worth investing in, and I'm willing to buy your shares. Correct? And that could be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line. We don't know how long. So when I invest in a startup where I don't know what's going to happen and where I know my money is going to be stuck,
Hmm.
one of the biggest things we look for in the founder is trust. If we don't trust the founder, why would we put in money? Correct? And
Yes.
if we have to trust the founder, the guy has to be honest with us. I would say both sides have to be honest with each other. So a founder who tries to fool you, absolutely, absolutely unacceptable. It's a complete no. We
Yes.
would rather have a guy who says, sir, I don't know this. I don't have the answer, but what you've raised is valid and I am willing to learn this. Or if one of you can share this with me and, spend time with me, I'm very happy to learn. We like such guys who are honest because then we know that there is a chance that we can trust these guys. Correct. So
Yes.
I think trust, honesty from the side of the founder and similarly from the side of the investor are very, very important.
Yes. Very good.
Yeah,
Wow.
the other thing you mentioned was, can I give you a couple of stories from Persistent? I think I'll give you maybe two stories.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, One story is a very interesting story actually from somebody I have been involved with these guys for some time now. It's a company called IRIL Farms. IRIL, IRIL Farms, right?
Okay.
So they are basically into organic vegetables and fruit. Now, as you know, today there is
Hmm.
a very strong movement towards organic stuff, right? People don't want to eat things which are, um, which have fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, pesticides.
Yes.
They want organic stuff, and they're willing to pay a premium. Now,
Hmm.
therefore said, okay, uh, we will uh, we will source such organic stuff, we will clean it, we will package it, and they're based in Gurgaon, and then we will supply it to
Okay.
retailers and at a premium under the IRIL brand. So,
Hmm.
the problem is that if you look at organic stuff, there are not too many areas in India which are actually growing genuine organic stuff. It's
Hmm.
not easy. It's not easy. It takes, for 3 years, once you start doing this, the fertilizer from the soil has to be actually dissipated. So it takes time. So these guys
Hmm.
identified one fairly major tract in Himachal, right, between Shimla and Solan,
Hmm. Hmm.
where a lot of farmers were doing this kind of organic natural farming, no pesticides, no chemical fertilizer. So they set up a collection center there. They would bring their vegetables from there, bring them to Gurgaon, clean them, pack them, sort them out, and then supply them to retailers. Now, all of us know what happened on the 25th of March 2020, right? Our
24th
Prime
March
Minister
to be
declared a
precise.
lockdown, correct?
Yeah.
He declared a lockdown. And lockdown means all transportation stopped, correct? So their entire supply chain from Himachal to Gurgaon, correct, which is about 350 kilometers, 400 kilometers almost, right? It just collapsed because trucks, tempos, nothing was allowed, right? You couldn't cross state borders, you couldn't be on the road. There was a lockdown.
Yes.
Now, suddenly, What these guys realized was that their business was completely badly hit. In fact, it was down to zero, right? Now, this is where persistence comes in, correct? These guys were fighters. They said, look, we are going to persist. We will not give up. So they did something very interesting. During the lockdown, as you know, even the mandis, the
Hmm.
local mandis were in disarray. They were in bad shape
Yes.
because people wouldn't be coming, tempos would not reach there, trucks would not reach there. So even local mandis around Gurgaon had a problem, which means that if you look at the regular vegetables, I'm not talking of organic, even the regular vegetables, the farmer was not able to reach to the mandi, and the retailer was not able to pick up from the mandi, right?
Hmm.
So even regular vegetables, the supply was very, very quite poor in that time,
Hmm.
and therefore prices shot up. So what
Yes.
this guy said was, okay, what we will do is for the time being, given this situation, we will pick up regular vegetables from local farmers, not Himachal farmers, farmers around Gurgaon. We'll pick them up, and because the mandi is not operational, we will supply them directly to the local guy, the retailers in Gurgaon,
Hmm.
not under the IRIL brand, because IRIL brand stands for organic,
Organic.
correct? This is normal, unbranded, right? They just supplied the stuff, and because of that, they were able to survive. They were actually able to grow significantly in this 2.5 month period. Not only that, at the end of this, the retailers realized that these guys are very, very reliable suppliers. So therefore, after the
Hmm.
lockdown ended, the retailers were very happy to go back to them, and now they've gone back completely
Wow.
to organic, and they have grown dramatically, right? And the only reason
Wow.
why this has happened is they took that call that look, we will figure out a way to survive. So the one thing which I must impress upon your, I mean, whoever is watching this is, you got to be a fighter. You cannot sit back and say, look, lockdown ho gaya, virus ho gaya. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to watch Netflix and play games and then generally mope around drinking coffee or maybe beer all day.
Hmm.
No, boss, you got to fight, survive. Many people have survived and they've grown. Iron Farms is a great
Yes.
example, right? So being
Yes.
persistent is very, very, very important.
Yes.
I'll take one more story. Yeah, that's a completely different thing, and that's about teams. So
Hmm.
there is an organization. In fact, that startup in a modified version is part of our book. It's one of the chapters in the book.
Hmm.
In fact, I tell you
Okay.
which chapter it is. It is
Hmm.
yeah, it is chapter 6. But I'll give you the original.
Chapter six. Okay. Pure
Pure
water.
water,
Hmm.
pure water, right? So there was a bright young group of engineers which came to us, three
Hmm.
engineers,
Hmm.
and they came to us in the year 2014, so about 6 years back. And they said, sir, we have a solution. Our startup has a solution for a waterless urinal. Okay. Now, you can imagine how excited we guys were. We were investors sitting around the conference room. Suddenly we perked up. You know why? Because 2 months before that, our prime minister had announced on Independence Day, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, right? He said, 2
Swachh
crore
Bharat
toilet banane
Abhiyan.
hain, correct? 2 crore toilet banane hain. Brilliant. It's a great initiative. However, where is the water? You go to villages, you go to small towns, pani nahi hai. How will you maintain these toilets? How will you
Hmm.
clean them? How will they be usable? So,
Hmm.
while the objective was extremely laudable, there was a practical problem. Now, here, these guys, the startup had come to us and said, boss, we have a solution,
Hmm.
waterless urinal. And incidentally, today, waterless urinals are more common. At that time, it was very, very uncommon. So, we were super
Common.
excited. We said, boss, isme to paisa dalna hi hai, whatever happens. But we just told these guys one thing. We said, look, I mean, we also get excited. You're a human being. So we told these guys,
Yeah, right.
correct, correct, right?
That's why I was laughing.
Investors are not just money making machine, they're the human beings. So anyway, so we told
Yes.
these guys, we said, look, it'll take us about a month and a half to really study your business, but we are very keen, we will invest. Just one important thing, how will you market this? Oh, sir, we'll appoint distributors. Great. because these kinds of things typically will be sold through hardware shops, sanitary shops, and so on. They're wonderful, but we told them very clearly, please make sure you appoint the distributors fast, because your product is ready,
Hmm.
it is ready to be rolled out, and somebody can copy it, and then you're finished. So do that very, very fast. Yes sir, yes sir. So in 1.5 months we met these guys again, and we were all set to invest. And these guys were looking extremely excited. Huh? Three young engineers, very excited. So we said, what happened? Why are you so excited? Oh, sir, now we are working on a female version of the same thing. Then hang on, hang on, hang on. What happened to the male version? Ha, sir, wo hai, sir. Hai. I mean, it's there. What happened to the distributors you had to appoint? Sir, once we finish the female version, it takes us only 3 months. We will appoint distributors. Sir, don't worry, sir. You know what our reaction was as investors? Hey,
It was like this. I can
what the hell
imagine.
is this? At a stroke, at a stroke, we decided we are not going ahead. And we told them very clearly, we said, look, you guys are very good technically, you're bright engineers, you have the right ideas, but you have no business sense. If
Hmm.
you can get a co-founder, right, not an employee, a co-founder who has business sense and who can market this, take this to market, we will consider investing in you once again. As of now, no, we cannot, because very simply, these guys have converted it into an R&D project.
Yes.
It's not what we are investing in. We are investing in a business. So, when I talk of the persistent model, the T, the first T in persistent, which is team, starting with the founder, is so very, very important. I told you earlier also,
Yes.
you invest, you have the wrong business, or not the wrong business, an average business. Great founders, they will figure out a way to make it succeed, like I told you with Iril Farms. But you have a great
Yes.
business, which is this waterless urinals, and the wrong founders, it just collapses, right? So nobody will
Yes.
invest in it. So I think that's the second example. Team is extremely important, starting with the founders.
Wow. So, well, wow. To summarize, I don't know how to summarize it because I want to keep going because
Okay,
there's so much to learn, right, about funding. It's like a
that is
new
true.
subject for a lot of guys, but I
That
have
is true.
to summarize. Uh, Let me ask you just one question to summarize it, right? The future of India. And I took a call to come back to India. This was 2010, and I just believe that I can do business over here. But things are much better now. We are ranked 66 in ease of doing business. Technology is coming up. We've got 5G coming up, and
Yeah,
we are able to match the world. Uh,
yeah.
if you, as a mentor, as an advisor, as an investor, as a writer, right, as a teacher and as a caretaker of the young India, had to pass on a message to somebody who may watch it in a month, who may watch this after 2 years or 5 years, because this is like a forever thing, right? The model that we've spoken about. What would you like to tell them? A message so that India can, reach its potential, because I believe personally that the world has not realized yet, though they are getting hints about it, what is the potential of this country if it starts to persist, with things that we are speaking about today.
Oh, absolutely. I think the opportunities are just tremendous, right? If you look at the Western world, you look at countries like Germany, France, US, UK, Japan, they are developed countries, right? And therefore, the
Yeah.
opportunity to grow is only that much, correct?
Hmm.
And when I say grow, it is not just in GDP terms, it's also in use of technology, improving the lifestyle of the population, and so on. If you look at India, we are still a developing country, which means the opportunity for us is that much, much higher, correct? Much, much higher. And therefore, it is very, very satisfying, far more satisfying probably to do something here, because there is so much difference you can make. I want to mention one more thing. I think the real opportunity in India for development, for progress, is not in our biggest cities. It is not in the posh localities such as
Bombay,
Defense Colony,
Mumbai.
Kolaba, or Fort Nariman Point in
Not
Bombay,
there.
or Greater Kailash in Delhi. It is in Bharat, right? The biggest opportunity is Bharat, right? Because Bharat is what? It is that 80, 85, 90% of our population, which is in the smaller town, in the villages, right? And there, the gap between what they are today and what they can reach is phenomenal. It's a
Yes.
huge opportunity, huge opportunity. Okay, I'll just give you one very simple example if we have time.
Yes. Yes.
One of my students at MDI, he is working on a very, very, very interesting startup.
Mm-hmm.
He comes from Odisha, and in fact, his parents are social workers. So he wants to do something for the good of society, but at the same time, it has to be a profitable, sustainable business. What he's doing is very interesting. He is going to a large village. Okay. And you know, one of the biggest problems in our villages in Bharat is that medical assistance is very, very poor. It's very, very poor
Yes.
because
Yes.
our
True.
government system is not able to handle it. Correct.
Hmm.
So what he's doing is he's saying, okay, I will use technology to improve this. I will use telemedicine. Now, how does he do it? He's created a very small kind of booth, right? A very small booth which has one nurse and it has one assistant. That's it. Just these two people.
Hmm.
And next to the booth is a local villager who set up a chemist shop, a chota chemist shop. Correct. And this booth will have uh, it has the ability to take samples, blood samples, urine samples, stool
Okay.
samples, etc. And you know it'll have things like a BP monitor, uh, etc., etc. Right. So very, very simple stuff
Interesting.
in that booth. So between the nurse and the assistant over there, what they will do is the villager comes there, okay, and through the internet, they have tied up with doctors in their capital, Bhubaneswar. Right?
Hmm.
Through the internet, there will be teleconsultation, right? And the doctor will then ask the nurse, look, you take his blood pressure, you check his weight, etc., which he will do, correct? Then the doctor will say, okay, you seem to have this is a symptom. Uh, Please do a blood test for ABC. He'll prescribe whatever blood test or urine test is required. The assistant will now come in, take the sample, correct? And the sample doesn't have to be sent all the way to Bhubaneswar. It will be sent to the nearest town where there will be a lab which will analyze it. And that's not this guy's lab. That's a
Hmm.
standard lab which already exists.
Standard lab.
The lab will send the report back to this terminal, correct? The guy comes again, the patient comes again. Once again, consultation with the doctor. The doctor says, this is the problem. You take these medicines. I'll give you the prescription. Printout is taken. Chemist next door gives him the medication. Okay,
Wow.
it's a phenomenal thing. And if so, in fact, the other important issue is costs here are very, very low. So therefore,
Hmm.
people are willing to pay. It's
Hmm.
wrong to assume that just because people are in a village, they can't afford it. No, many people can afford it. And therefore, this can be a very viable, very highly sustainable business. And I think it's
Yes.
a great pilot that this man is running. So, you know, look at the
Wow.
opportunities. You don't have these opportunities in the US.
And you,
It's a
yeah.
tremendous opportunity.
And when you were talking, I was counting. I think he's impacted six communities. Like
Yes.
he's impacted the chemist,
Yeah.
the assistant, the
Yeah.
doctor,
Yeah.
of course the patient, the diagnostic center, and the
Correct.
government.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know,
Everybody.
and everybody is getting business, everybody is getting service, and it. I mean, from one small place,
Yeah.
like six people have been impacted, and if
Right.
we can scale it, in ways, of
Right.
course, you must be mentoring him, whether it's franchise or some kind of a
Yes.
model.
Ultimately, it'll have to be franchised. Correct.
Yes,
You're right.
yes, wow, amazing. Well, it's a pleasure. I don't know how to end, but I have to. Okay, people want to reach you. Let's talk about the book. It's available everywhere, guys. I got it from Crosswords, by the way. I'm sure it's on Amazon, it's on
Yeah.
Flipkart,
Yeah.
and
It is.
pick it up. I mean, I don't know how much it costs. I think I put it up for 3.99. It's nothing. If you are a genuine startup, you know how much you've spent on your education, right? And don't let's not even talk about it. It's one Starbucks coffee today. Okay, and you pick it up, you study it, and you actually have to implement it. So this is
Yeah.
not a book that you read. The way to read this is you put your idea into this book and be like, okay, where am I standing? If you need any help, you reach out to people. There are so many mentors available, so many other YouTube videos. And I truly believe that one startup, two startups, whatever it is, but if you're a persistent entrepreneur, okay, you will be on the right track. I'm a consultant. I have not gone for funding because my business does not qualify. It does not need. But I persisted in the lockdown. We did 800 free consultations in the first 5 months because I had never done virtual trainings. So I was scared and I did 800 free sessions. I'm like, kuch to hoega. But that's what you will learn, khoon pasina, and it was worth it. We achieved that target till April 2021. If I don't work a day till April 2021, we've achieved that targets. That's what happened. But I've not gone for funding. So I'm talking from both perspectives, guys. Where can they find you? Is there a way that they can interact with you?
Sure. See, my email ID is given there, and I think you also have my email ID.
Yes, I do.
Right?
I'll put it up on the video.
Most welcome.
Yes.
And my LinkedIn, I mean, they can catch me on LinkedIn. And by the way, once COVID is over, I'm very happy to meet people. I will also treat you to coffee and burgers and whatever and discuss.
Oh, wow. That's so
after
sweet.
COVID. No, I've been doing
That's
that
after COVID.
7 years, except
Wow.
this year. This year I'm been able to meet people. It's great. I must tell you, Ashish, it is such fun meeting young people because I don't know how much they will learn from me. I learn a hell of a lot from them.
What's going on, right? Like the world is moving so fast. And they teach you. Yeah, you're right on that. So
and I'll also sign a copy of, if they bought the book, I'll sign a copy.
Great. Well, I appreciate it. And I know they have to buy this. If you're watching this, go buy it. I'll give you the money back if you don't like the book. I mean,
wow.
It's on me, guys. No, I've read 20% of it. And I told my team, please contact them. We need to interview them. There's nothing like this in India right now, guys. Okay, it's pure Indian. It's made in India. Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Correct.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks.
I will be in touch with you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And a carton of chocolates is on its way to you.
Yes, so I have to also send it to you, right? So we both are sending cartons. I need your address and I'll get it. But it would have been easier. मैं जयपुर में था. मैं अभी आया हूँ 2 दिन पहले. बॉम्बे से भेजना पड़ेगा आपको. चलो, great, sir. Thank you, and we'll speak again. You have a good evening.
Great. Wonderful.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.